Welcome to a very special 342 NBA2K massive collab. To my right is Jason Gallagher, the guy who started this channel, who's been with JJ and I from the jump, hops in the comments sometimes, is basically just the mastermind behind everything that we do, I would say. What's up, Jason?
Hey, what's up? I'm sorry you have to look at me, but I wanted to take just a brief second to introduce myself as the person who, does sort of run this channel. I've seen the comments that are like, "Who is Jayson?" That's a fair.
A lot of people ask that.
It's a fair question. You won't be seeing much of me, I don't think.
Give a little bio.
Yeah. I'm a producer, director, and
Jason helped start The Ringer, I would say.
Yeah,
I would say you were very instrumental in like everybody from Bill on down would attest to that. I think everybody in the industry would attest to that. You are a jack of all trades. I mean, JJ especially would be the first to say none of this shit would have happened if it wasn't for Jayson. I think that everyone who's followed us closely knows that. And I know you wanted to, address some of the stuff that we're working on right now.
Yeah. Because we're going to be obviously going through a transition, which JJ sort of talked about. And this episode you're watching right now is a great example of the type of thing we're talking about. We want to make this channel a very holistic, like forward-thinking basketball YouTube channel with all the intelligence that JJ brings, along with, getting to know some of the players. And we've been talking with a lot lately, and I think we have like some really fun and exciting things. And the reason why I wanted to be here is simply just to say, like, hi, we are going to be very open about the future of this channel. And so this is just us being an open book and saying, like, we're excited to bring you guys a lot of cool stuff.
I mean, as we're planning everything now, we're in the process, just sort of full transparency. We're reworking some of the deals. All of our partners sort of on all ends, from business to league to everything like that, are on board to sort of stick around with us. And so we have a thing we're going to talk about in a second that we're launching this week, but we have a lot of stuff coming for the fall. But what I would just say in general, as we're thinking about, we'd love your guys' advice and suggestions on this as well. We want this to be a collective. Obviously, we have a great relationship with players and coaches and teams and everyone around the league. And so there's going to be a lot of player-centric content that you guys will see, but we also want to try stuff. I think now, as we're reworking some of the sort of creative, especially with some of the younger guys that we want to start stuff with, I think that our goal is to, like, the way that JJ and Jason and I have talked about this is, when JJ and I started doing this, when JJ started in 2015, he was the first player to do this. But, as we were growing and we started to see there's so many, player shows out there. And so they're great. And we're friends with most of them. We talked to a lot of them. We're involved in some of them. But we want to try to figure out, what's next, and how do we figure out what's next? So I think that is with Jayson, I think all of us try to do that. With Jayson is sort of proven at being one of the best in the business at doing. And so he hates it, but he's going to be on here more.
It really sucks, actually. Yeah. So, what's important for me in this channel is to maintain the integrity of what it is we built through basketball, like smart basketball analysis. But then also, growing the game involves a lot of things, and showcasing these players' personalities, stuff like that. That's something that we're really invested in. And the players we've spoken to so far have some like really great ideas. And I'm excited to help bring them to life here on this channel with you and with Richie. Shout out Richie.
Yeah, Richie's lurking in the back. Richie's the next one to pop up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. We kind of just wanted to give you guys a quick update after JJ's video yesterday. But I think we should talk a little bit about what we're putting out this week.
Yeah.
And basically the context of it is we've had a relationship with NBA2K. They're amazing partners. We had a relationship with them since we started the company and the show. They reached out to us a few months ago about partnering with them to, on a bunch of things. Some things you'll see in the fall, but one of them is to help them announce their cover stars for 25, Jayson Tatum and A'ja Wilson, which I can say now because this video is out, but it's been a secret for a little bit. And so JJ and I were originally going to do this. And then, when the Lakers stuff happened, it became untenable, but the 2K folks were great. And they were just like, we still want we still want your community to be a part of this announcement. And so we called our old friend Sue.
By we
Bird,
mean Tommy.
Called our old friend Sue Bird, who was hanging in Seattle. And we may or may not have some stuff we're working on with her at the moment. And Sue has known, Jayson and A'ja for a minute. She's been on the cover of 2K before a couple years ago with Diana Taurasi. She's obviously, a USA ambassador, a GOAT. She's going to be in Paris with the teams in a couple weeks. Sue popped down. She graciously helped us out with this conversation. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it.
Yeah, Sue is tremendous, and a lot of championships on that stage.
Yeah, not
so much from you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I was gonna say that was the thing. It was like I said when Sue and I were talking about the prep originally. I was like, I need to just acknowledge that from the jump, where we have 7 championships, 7 rings, 7 gold medals, 24 All-Star appearances. I'm not even getting into the All NBA and All W and everything like that, which is like in the dozens at this point. And then you got me.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You know what? It's just gotta say it. Just like, as long as you address it, I feel like it doesn't mean that it's not weird, but as long as you address it, at least it's out there.
Hey, we're all human beings. It's great. No, it's an awesome interview. I mean, both of them, Jayson and A'ja, were both like open books, and Jayson. I mean, she's so happy for him. Still, I'm a Mavericks fan. Yeah, still happy for the man.
He's extremely. And he gets into this a little bit in the conversation. He's at peace.
Yeah.
He's at peace. And it's so funny. We mentioned this with him. He's been on the show a couple times. He's our 3rd guest ever on OM3. He mentioned, just what specifically an NBA championship means compared to anything else. And I don't want to, jump on his answer right now, but I think that it is something that when you, even if you were to go back and watch some of our previous episodes, you can see that shift in him personality wise. And then A'ja's just the best. I mean, she's literally a superstar in every, like we were talking about with her afterwards, she just decided to write a book and it's a massive bestseller and like an awesome book.
Yeah.
In between everything else that she's working on.
Yeah. It's a great interview. I think y'all are going to really enjoy it. So shall we?
Here is Sue Bird, Jayson Tatum, A'ja Wilson. What was your guys' first thought you saw this cover?
Wow. At first I was like, look at our leg sleeves. I feel like it's pretty unique that we actually have them on the opposite legs, but it's pretty dope. I mean, this is a big deal for me. I'm pretty sure the same for JT, but yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, 2K is a big deal, and to be like the first dual cover from NBA to WNBA, and somebody that I've known for a very, very long time. Super happy for her and myself. And, like she said, this is a special moment that, we should be proud of.
Wait. When did you guys meet?
Oh, my gosh.
2015.
Yeah, 15.
14,
Oh,
15.
really?
Where were you?
Yeah.
Colorado Springs for Junior Olympics.
USA basketball.
Yeah. That
started USA basketball.
What was the meeting? Do you remember where you were? Like, what was the vibe like when you guys met?
We were just kicking it, I guess. Yeah, you stay in like these little dorm situations.
Oh gosh, the
yeah,
dorms.
Where you have to it was crazy. And we were just kind of kids. I don't even know what was it.
It's one of those big training camps, like maybe like October.
Yeah,
and there was a bunch of us there. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of downtime after we was in the gym.
Yeah.
Well, we're here with A'ja Wilson, Jayson Tatum. We're celebrating your guys' cover, which is super special. We'll get into the ratings a little bit later. I think Ronnie 2K's in here, so if you have any issues, we can pull him up. But Jayson, you're fresh off a championship, so can you just tell us what the last month has been like for you?
Nothing short of amazing. Winning the championship, however, I thought that moment would be like it's been 100 times better. You guys know it. Getting there or falling short and, getting over that hump, it was well worth it. And, it still doesn't seem real at times. But, I'm still on like cloud 9 of being a champion.
I was going to ask, there's, on this, me aside, there's 7 championships, there's 7 Olympic gold medals. There's 24 All-Star appearances in this quartet right now.
We decided Tommy's just somewhere in the background.
I'm somewhere in the corner.
He's just
superimposed in the corner.
out.
There's a lot of winning that is happening in this trio. At what point, you've won a lot, but this is your first championship. At what point are you processing this in real time and just being like, this feels different than the gold, than any of the other, dozens and dozens of awards that you've gotten over the years?
And I mean, it has like accomplished a lot, but winning a championship, it did feel like a breath of fresh air. Like the weight of expectations were lifted. And you've accomplished something that only a few people have in history. And it's like, you can be in a room with champions and like, they know what that moment is like. They know what the high that you're on is like. They know what it took to get to that moment is like. So being in a space in that room with, people that you looked up to and wanted to be like, and now you can say like, I won a championship like they did.
Yeah, something similar between you two is getting to the finals, not having success,
Right.
and then ultimately getting back and winning. So A'ja, like what those in-between years, granted for you, it was just one, but that in-between season, right? Or I guess 2 years.
Yeah.
Those 2 years.
Yeah.
Talk about like what it felt like, because actually, if you could, both of you define greatness even, right? Like, do you have to win a title to be great? Let's start with that actually. How do you feel about that?
Yes, I think you do.
Whoa.
I think you do.
I don't know.
With some exceptions.
It's tricky.
With some
There's
exceptions,
a lot of
yes.
great players that didn't win.
That's very true.
Allen
they have
So you have to be in
exceptions.
the rare air. How about that?
Yes, for sure.
It puts you in rare air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So
it's a different
knowing that
category.
you had success early, back to those 2 years
Yeah.
before you win a ring, like what were those 2 years like? Those in between years.
Man, we got swept by y'all.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up.
You know what? She brought the
I just-
question up.
I said
Seattle
2020.
Storm in the bubble. But it I don't know, it was just like a different feel because we weren't supposed to make it that far anyways.
Mhm.
So making it there was kind of like, okay, like we could do this. Like this is doable. But then getting swept, it kind of broke me because I was like, whoa, like we couldn't get one game? Like, dang, like one game. And that's when it broke me really, really down. And it's crazy. I was actually like crying my eyes out leaving the bubble. I was happy to leave, but I was like very upset at the fact that's like, you're so close and like you're just right there, but you just couldn't get it done. And I felt like those next years coming back into the swing of things, I was like, I never want to feel that way again. Like, what do I have to do to not feel that way? Because I was so used, and I said it, I was so used to the confetti falling on me and I could celebrate and it was this big moment. But when that confetti falls on you and it's not for you, it's like it stings. I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. Like I want to rip it up. But I think every athlete needs to go through that. I feel like everyone has to go through that in order to be great, to have those lows to where you're like, I don't like this feeling. And so I used those years to really like fuel me to be like, I never want, I don't care if we lose in the I cannot get there and do that again. So like, that's when it kind of just fueled me in a way that I'm like, hey, I don't want to feel it. I don't want my teammates to feel it. So how do we get over that hump? And then you just work your ass off.
I mean, but if you think about it, since it took 2 years, 2021, you guys lost, correct me if I'm wrong, like a little bit of a heartbreaker
Yes.
against Phoenix. So it's not like, that
Right.
motivation just kicks in. So
Right.
is there something that happened for your team in those 2 years? For you, I hear what you're saying. You're
yeah.
like motivate.
Yeah.
What about like collectively losing in the finals, losing the next year in the semis, and then ultimately?
Yeah, I think that was losing in the semis was one where we were just like, oh no, that one was supposed to be ours. Like you just felt like the script was scripted. It was
Yeah.
there. We were supposed to be the ones hoisting that trophy. And I just remember because that was the year Candace won. And I was like, dang, maybe the script was for her because she went home and she wins it. But like, I think as a collective, like us as the Aces, we were just like, no, that was supposed to be us. Like that is our year. And as a whole, we all came back to the gym. And then obviously we get Becky and then it shifts culture and everything. But I think as a whole, going into the locker room, we were like, no, we got to make some changes. Like if we want our culture to be winning, if we want to stand on something, we as a whole, 1 through 12, have to say, this is what we're going to buy into.
Yeah, I was going to ask your perception after the first one and the parallels to your situation now, where it's like you've now done it, and so how do you continue the chip? How do you keep the edge after you've already done the thing that you've worked your whole life to do?
I mean, everyone I don't think people like us. So I think that was our chip, was like, okay, another reason for people to hate us more. Like, let's just keep doing it. Let's make them continue to hate us. But let's do right by it. Like, let's give the game back, because the game pays you back in a lot of different ways. So you want that karma to be good karma. So we just continue to be us and just stick to the system. But you're like, you got to win yours at home. I won one in my Mohegan Sun.
That's tough.
Like nothing.
We were there. We were there in Brooklyn last year. I mean, even that team was a good. It was a sick
at least
game,
you
but
got
it's not the
to
same thing.
home.
Celebrating on their practice court.
Right? I'm like,
I would have preferred to win on the road, honestly.
Really?
Why?
Just because I know what it felt like for somebody to win a championship on my home court.
Okay.
I wanted that get back. Like, I wanted to win in Dallas, because I know I've seen the Warriors celebrate on our home court, and that shit was devastating.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
That's true.
When you came out with JJ and I a couple years ago, it was before you guys played the Warriors in the finals, and we talked about some of the downsides of early success. And basically, you come into the NBA and you have like a huge amount of success right from the jump, and just the pressures that leads to, of like people expecting a lot from you right away when you guys are still figuring everything out. As you are sort of like processing everything over the last couple of months, do you feel any differently about that? Do you feel like it prepared you better? Do you feel like that is something that, like, being in the conference finals when no one's expecting you to be there in your first year has like put you in a position to basically have a smooth playoff run like this?
Absolutely. And for me, it was like being in the conference finals 5 out of 7 years. And yeah, we got to the finals once and lost, and the other 4 times we lost in the conference finals. It always, people would have that narrative. They're knocking on the door, or they're too young, they can't figure it out. For me, that's like sustained success. And it was like, it's a matter of time until we do it. And that's the way that we looked at it as a unit. And, when you have success early, they just think you're so much older than you are. And there was so much talk of like, our window has closed. It was like, I just turned 26 and Jaylen Brown is 27. Like, they say you don't hit your prime till you're 28, but we were just held to a different standard because my rookie year, we played LeBron in a Game 7 to go to the finals. But for me, the most satisfying thing about winning is like, in the social media age that we live in and turn on the TV, there's so many things that they can debate, right? Is he the best player? Is he top 5 or whatever? They can't debate that I won a championship. That's something that they never can take from me. And it's like, I sleep so much better at night. Because it would keep me up.
It's been a month. You're already sleeping better.
So much better. And it's like, I don't care. I honestly don't care what they say anymore. It's like, yo, I did it. The thing that they said I couldn't do, I did it. And they can't take that away.
I literally say the exact same thing, or I have said the exact same thing towards the end of my career, especially. Like, at some point, someone's going to break whatever record you have. They're going to, whatever it is, but you cannot argue the winning. You can't argue the winning. And another similarity, and you kind of brought it up, that I wanted to ask you guys about is your teams have strong cultures. You can't win without it, right? How do you keep all that noise, all the narratives, all the things that people saying, whether it's about you and Jaylen, whether it's your team last year, there was a laundry list of things that people were bringing up. How do you keep that locker room tight? A'ja, like, how do you keep that? How do you let the culture take care of that?
I mean, we have a saying that's like, stay poised to the noise. And that's something that we just stand by no matter what. Like, we got hit with a lot of stuff last year, little stuff this year. Our biggest thing was sometimes we make jokes out of it. Sometimes we just keep being us, because like I said, we know the game's going to pay us back. We know that the talk is going to be silenced once we hoist the trophy. Like, that's just what you have to get to. That's all you have to do. And it's very, very hard, because a lot of people want to dive into, it's always a story to tell. Everybody wants to figure out conspiracies. It's all these different things that they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on with the Aces? I mean, investigations, the whole nine. Like,
you guys have had a lot. You've had a lot.
It's something always going on with the Aces. But with us, I think that's when we really lean on each other the most. Like, that's when we really check on each other's mental. We kind of have days where we just kind of put the basketball aside and we stay within, because that culture there, it runs a lot deeper than just on the court. It translates. It goes hand in hand. So for us, we just kind of hype each other up and just always just be there for each other, knowing that we have each other's back through it all. Because when it's in between those lines, it's a dogfight and nobody cares about the Aces. They want to beat you. Every game that they play against us is a championship game. So if we're rattled, then it's like they win right before we play. So we just really just stay close-knit. We don't let a lot of noise seep into it.
What about you, JT?
I mean, to piggyback off that, you have to have like high character people in your organization. And it's not just the people in the locker room or the coaches. It's like everyone in the building has to be on the same page and has to contribute to winning. And whatever their role is, from the chefs to the janitors, like everybody is on the same page for what we're trying to accomplish. And I give our team a lot of credit this year. Like everybody was in the perfect stage of their career of like they've had individual success, they've made money to take care of their families. And now we were literally brought together for one goal. And everybody in one way or another sacrificed or did other things that would uplift the group. And winning solves everything. Right?
Everything.
Winning
It's
solves everything.
The best Band-Aid of all time. Because you could have like teams that are so successful, all the things, but if you lose, it'll be like, oh, this, that, the other. But when you win, it's like, yeah, all those things happen, but Band-Aid.
Yeah.
we won.
I have a question. The second you got the text that Drew Holiday is coming to Boston, were you, in the back of your mind, you know a lot of things have to happen. You know how tough it is to get through it. In the back of your mind, are you like, we're winning this shit?
At first, I was like, I can't believe Milwaukee let this happen. So thanks to the Bucks. But yeah, kind of. I knew we had a really good chance. To win a championship, a lot of things have to go right. You have to stay healthy, have to be on the same page. People have to get along. It's a little bit of luck that's involved. But knowing that Drew had championship DNA and I won a gold medal with him, I knew, what kind of player and person that he was. I knew it was going to make our team better. And we already got KP, and we already had a really good team. So, when we got Drew, I was pretty confident about what we could accomplish.
Is there someone for you guys, where you feel like, oh, when we got
Candace.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Chelsea.
Oh,
Shout
yeah,
out Chelsea.
too, man.
I'm joking.
But even then, like,
honestly, you have you could pick from all of them. At this point.
But when we got Candace, I was like, uh-oh. Like, our roster's looking pretty nice. Like, okay. It was just one of those things that I was like, it can look great on paper. And I've been on teams where it looks so good on paper. And then when it's on court, it's like a shit show. So when we got Candace and I finally got to play alongside her, I was like, okay, this could be something.
Well, to that point, we talk a lot about Alicia and her impact. We were talking about it during the finals last year, but Sue's former teammate and just what she brings. You have a lot of teammates like this. Derek is one, but there's a bunch going up and down the list. What do you guys think makes, just broadly, what makes a good role player? Like, what makes somebody who is when this person is on your team, whether it's your team or an opponent, they are going to provide something that is just an intangible.
The little things, like you said, the intangibles, just the 50-50 balls, just anything. Things that don't show up on the stat sheet, I feel like is so key when it comes to role players, and you honestly can't win without them. They're some of the biggest ones that make the biggest plays at the right moment, because, superstars are going to be superstars. At the end of the day, you're going to get what you can get out of them, but it's like, who's doing the little things that superstars can't always do, and that's the separation factor right there.
Yeah, and it's like, role players on a championship team would be, one or two on a different team. Like the fact that Drew Holiday and D. White are considered our role players, we're extremely lucky.
It's not cool.
And like she said, the superstars, you're going to have off nights, especially in the playoffs. It's just how it goes. And in those moments when role players or guys off the bench can buy you a 3-minute stretch or whatever it is where they make plays and hit shots, and then you come back into the game and now everybody's rolling. It really is a collective effort. You never know when a role player can win you a playoff game, and that's so valuable.
Yeah, it's like a stress reliever. When you're sitting on the bench and you see them, even if they just keep the score where it was when you came out, it gives you a little bit more. What I find interesting about role players is, in a lot of ways, we talk about the superstars and their egos. Do they have one? Do they not? How do they embrace their teammates? To me, the role player's ego is so interesting because, like you said, they could be number one, number two on another team. And yet they choose to be, I was going to say lesser. That does not do it justice. It's not lesser. I gotta get a new vocabulary here, but they're choosing a lesser role, right? They have to be efficient in that role. And yet their ego never comes in. Yeah. And I always find that fascinating because we always talk about egos of superstars, but never about the role players. And they're the ones that have to probably take even a bigger hit in a lot of ways and continue to show up, continue to be efficient. That's how I feel about AC, about Alicia Clark.
Yes.
She just comes in, she's going to guard the best player. She's going to hit the corner three. She's going to yap at the ref a little bit when they call a foul on her. But players like that are so important. you guys both play on incredibly talented teams. And we just mentioned some of the players that are considered quote unquote role players, but you're also top heavy in a sense. You're really talented at the top. So what's it like meshing that? Like A'ja, you've got 4 Olympians on your team. So what's it like putting that together as well?
I mean, it's sacrifice. That's what it is. Like, we've all taken the pay cuts. We've all sacrificed because, I mean, a lot of us can go to other teams. I mean, KP, Chelsea, Jackie, they can go to other teams and be that number 1 option, but they choose to stay here and be like, no, we want to continue to grow off of this culture. And yeah, we have our times where it's like, all right, you can go ahead and get 30, you can get 20, but in no way I want
You talk about before the game? Like, all right, KP.
Right.
Plum, I see that look.
Right. Like, we know at any given time people can go off, but we know where our bread and butter is. We know what really wins in the long run, because these games are cool, they're nice. Regular season games are kind of chill, but it's like when we hit September, October, like, what is going to win us a championship?
What is your bread and butter?
Give her the ball.
Oh my God. No, that's not the bread and butter. Even though Chelsea and I in a pick and roll, I would say that is
that's tough.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah,
so that
tough.
may be our bread and butter. But any guards, I feel like
You
I
guys
just
are
trying to
still
make
clearing
this
out
up.
that other side?
Oh yeah, for
God.
sure. Come on now. I think
There
that's our
goes your
bread and
help.
butter. And we just go there.
What about you? Just fitting in all the talent.
It's like what I said, alluded to earlier. It was like we were just at the perfect time in our career. And I say, like, for the guys that were on that 22 team when we went to the finals and lost to the Warriors, like the Sam Hausers, the Peyton Pritchards, myself, JB, D. White, like we know what it feels like to get there and lose. And, you know, we add KP, who had never been past the second round. So he's just so excited to be on a team that can contend for a championship. And Drew, who's been there, but, you know, the next few years in Milwaukee weren't so great. So just everybody being on the same page and like putting individual accolades to the side. And when you win, those things will still come, right? Whatever you achieve, they will still be there. But knowing that the most important thing for us to do is to win a championship, and like having those heart-to-heart talks before the season, even without the coach, like, yo, this is what I need from you, D. White. This is what I need from such and such. And I think for everybody to have that certain level of respect for each other, that the top guy can call out the 15th guy and the 15th guy can call out the top guy. And you see that in the everyday work that you put in, and that trust factor of like, yo, I know he has the best interest in his team, so whatever he says, I'm not going to take it to heart. And, you know, we move on and go to the next play.
You just made me think of something. Did losing in the finals maybe take away some of the fear? Right? Like I don't mean literal fear necessarily, because I know as athletes, we don't talk about that, but just that idea of like, oh God, did it actually like take, because you felt it. You're like, okay, if this is the worst. So I'm just curious if it maybe numbed it a little bit, or did it add pressure?
For me, it was like the lowest moment, I guess, in my career, because getting to the championship is hard enough. Right? At that moment, it was the hardest thing I ever did. And to feel like I didn't have enough to win was like depressing. And you start to have a little bit of doubt of like, man, you're never guaranteed another shot. Yeah. So that was the fear part of like, not like I know what it's like losing. It's just like, damn, will I ever get back there? So taking that opportunity of like, man, when we beat Indiana and we had 10 days off and we were figuring out who we were going to play, like my mind was so made up, like I will do whatever it takes. We're not going to lose this series. And we were all on the same page.
Did you ever have a moment like that?
Take away the fear?
Yeah.
I always felt like, I'm not trying to say this to be, I didn't lose in the finals, but I got knocked out of the first round a lot. That's like pretty much the story of my career. We either won or I got knocked out in the first round. And what I found was, and getting knocked out in the first round is not the same as losing in the finals, but when you do it consecutively, people start to question and doubt and all the things. And what I found was experiencing the worst feeling made me less scared of it. I was like, okay, I lived, I survived. I woke up the next day, you know, and then you're on other teams. So we're on USA Basketball, which I definitely want to talk to you guys about. I played overseas. So I had other successes that gave me like a taste of it. So I wasn't just totally, in the dumps all the time. Yeah, you said total loser. So I wasn't a big loser. But yeah, I think as I got older, it just was like, all right, I've literally experienced it all and it's not that scary.
One thing we were talking about on the way over here, how do you guys think your scout has changed
Mm.
in terms of like just growth in your career, in terms of how teams are approaching you?
Ooh,
It's a good one.
that is a
That's a
good
good
one. I feel like I can go right more now.
That's what I said. He goes, "What would you say,
She
for
said
A'ja?" I was
this
like, "Oh, you can
exact
go
thing.
right now."
I can go right now, and I think in the
But that
beginning
happened
I was
quick.
not. Yeah, that is very true.
By year 2, you were doing that.
that is true.
That happened quick. But sorry, go ahead.
My midi's nice.
Your midi's nice.
I feel like they would
Second thing I
always
said?
like play me for the drive, and now I can shoot a little bit.
Literally, exactly what I said.
I wish we recorded it.
I
Just played
know.
it back. This is exactly
What's up with the threes? How we feeling?
Oh yeah, that three's kind of good. She can give her some time. She can knock it down.
Okay.
Getting consistent.
What are
Yeah,
you
watch
most
out.
proud of in that scouting report? Like, meaning the thing you've worked on. What are you most proud of?
Oh, definitely my 3-ball.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I think playing in small spaces, like with not a lot of dribbles, like with one dribble, I can get into my move, I can get to my spots. Versus early in my career, I would literally like shut down if I felt like I couldn't get to my spots because I'm like, oh my God, why can I do it? So now I feel like I'm most proud of like, no matter what, no matter where I am, I can still manage to get to my spots.
I would say for me, earlier in my career, I was so defined or wanted to be defined by scoring. And like if I would have off shooting nights, it would affect other things that I was doing on the court. And, I had my first practice today at USA Basketball, and won't say his name, but one of the coaches came up to me and said that, him and a lot of other coaches watched throughout the playoffs and was so impressed by my willingness to, I guess, dominate in all areas. And the nights that I wouldn't have great shooting nights, could I get 14 rebounds? Could I get 8 assists? Could I guard the big man? And to see my, talk about the growth from, earlier in my career when I would, for lack of better words, maybe shut down or be frustrated about that instead of trying to figure out other ways to win. And so to hear him, come and tell me that, it meant a lot.
Well, I think the Indy game 3 and 4 in particular were probably good examples of that. Did you feel that in real time? Were you like, this is because you just dominated every aspect of that game besides probably like the score sheet? Were you like just feeling good the whole time while it was happening?
Yeah, and I was really at like a place of peace coming into the playoffs of like, man, I don't care how it looks, I'm going to win a championship this year. And, I was consumed earlier in career of like, I want to win, but I want it to look a certain way, right? I was young, I wanted to look a certain way. And, coming up short so many times, this year I was like, I'm not going to be defined by one thing. I'm going to hold that trophy up when it comes June by any means necessary.
So you both are going to your second Olympics. I feel like it's really your first though.
Yes.
Because Tokyo
Did
was a
not
little
Trash.
different.
Did not count.
Yeah.
Should say it was trash, but it is.
The experience, not Tokyo.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I love
that's
Tokyo.
why it's
The experience
Yeah,
was
it was
trash.
not the
Yeah.
best.
I love Tokyo.
God, there's so many questions I want to ask. So basically, I want to know about what you're looking forward to experiencing like off the court.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you both that. But then, of course, we got to get into the basketball too. So very quickly, is there something off the court that you didn't get to do last time that you're really looking forward to doing?
I didn't get to do the ceremony walk.
Oh yeah, you didn't. Well, you missed us in our hot ass outfits.
Listen.
You didn't miss much.
Some jean
In the room,
jacket.
I got sick on like the car ride over there.
Yeah.
And I had to go back to the hotel.
Yeah, I remember that.
I want to go to different sporting events. I want to go see like track and swimming and all that different stuff.
Basketball wise, again, it is your second Olympics, but again, it's kind of your first because now that you have that 1 year under your belt, you're not rookies anymore. And when you're a rookie at the Olympics, ignorance can be bliss a little bit. You don't really know what to expect. You kind of get to be free in that way. So how do you think, and Jayson, I'll start with you, how do you think your role is going to be different this time around? What are you going to take from the first experience-wise and use as you enter? I mean, you guys are obviously, it's Dream Team Part 2 for sure. So if you want to add in a little bit of what that's going to be like too.
I'm super excited. I think one thing that I learned from the first experience was I took our talent for granted. Meaning, like, I looked to my right, it was Kevin Durant, it was Damian Lillard, it was Bam, it was all these guys. And I was like, yeah, we're just going to roll the ball out there and we're going to win. And we lost, like, 2 friendly games, and we lost the first game in Tokyo against France. And it was just like a wow moment of, like, no, we really have to play the right way. We have to compete. We have to do all the little things because we can lose. I was ignorant. I didn't think that we could lose. And that was that moment. We needed that moment as a team, and we went on to win the gold medal. And that's something that I've carried into this camp. And everybody has that mindset of like, you have to have an appropriate level of fear of like, respect your opponent because you can lose.
It's some of it also, and we talked about this a lot in Manila in the fall, some of it's also just respecting FIBA and just the difference in, it's not even just the opponent, but the rules.
Yeah.
Different.
Just that approach. A'ja, do you have a perspective on that?
I mean, we're going for 8 straight. So the nerves are kind of there because you just don't want to be that team. But
I tell people that all the time. They're like, oh, you guys go over there and just kill everybody. I'm like, well, you're not trying to be the team.
You just
that
do
loses.
not want to be the team. Even like close games, anything. You just
And
don't
it's not
want to
like
be
we
the team.
talk about it.
Yes.
But it's there.
It's there.
Like,
it's like just glooming over and you're just like, all right, we just don't want to be the team on 3. Go.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that I think is just, and obviously it's just the pressure. But for us, I mean, our locker room's going to be great. So I'm not really worried on that standpoint. But we're going for 8 and you just don't want to be that team. I will not be that team.
No. You both have literally accomplished basically all of it. But now you're on the cover, which is pretty dope. So what was your first thoughts when they called you to let you know?
I had a unique experience. It was on my birthday. I was at my mom's house and Deuce ran downstairs.
Is he more excited than you?
he had like a bag. And he was like, Daddy, happy birthday. And I opened it and it was, congrats, you're on the cover of 2K, blah, blah, blah. And I actually like got teary-eyed. I kind of cried a little bit just because I feel like I'm very blessed and fortunate that when I was younger, I had so many dreams and goals and things I wanted to check off. And it's like I'm experiencing those things in real time. And I grew up at my mom's house playing 2K with my best friends and my cousin and dreaming about being in the game one day and then being on the cover. And it's like, for that moment to come true, I got a little I kind of cried a little bit.
Yeah.
I was just so overwhelmed and happy that, something I dreamed about came true.
That's awesome.
Yeah. For me, my agent called and she was like, hey, you're going to be on the cover. And I was like, oh, wait, no, like about time, Ronnie, damn it.
Poor Ronnie. He's taking all the hits.
But no, it was a big moment. I mean, you see yourself, you dream of, like JT was saying, like as a kid, you just dream yourself seeing your face in these spaces. Mm-hmm. And then for it to actually be real and happen, I mean, I see my face on a potato chip bag and it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm in a video game and now I'm on the cover. Like, granted, I don't play video games and I might start now because my face is on the cover. But like, it's just one of those moments where you're like, wow, like this is something that I would dream of doing, like having a shoe, like all those different things. And now you're starting to like check off your goal list. It's been huge. So I'm blessed. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys, we were talking about this before, your advice for kids in Columbia, your advice for kids in St. Louis, obviously kids around the world, but those places in particular, a lot of kids watching this thing play this game and they look up to you guys now, best-selling author, as well. Are there things that this game signifies in terms of like, it's interesting hearing you talk about your experience, Jayson, growing up playing the game. Like, what do you tell the kids when you see them? What do you say? This is maybe not going to be a professional basketball player, but this is where you're going to go.
Yeah, I always say it's like, you can never dream too big.
You stole mine. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Like, you can never dream too big. And
Yes.
with like, and I tell people, like, you don't always have to be an NBA player. Like, you can be whatever you aspire to be. Every time I go home and if I have a camp or an event for my foundation, I like going back because it's like, I want the kids to see like, yo, I grew up here. I walked these same streets. I was at the same parks that you guys are. And coming from St. Louis, like I didn't have that many role models or seeing things on TV kind of felt out of reach. Yeah. So I think it's very important to always go back home and show the little girls and boys that whatever you want is achievable. Like you can do whatever you set out to do with the right support system, right? Nobody's ever been successful by themselves. I'm very fortunate for my parents and my family, but I just feel like with the right love and support, and if you truly go chase whatever you want to do, it's possible.
For sure, yeah. Just the same exact thing. Like, don't ever think dreams are just untouchable. Like, you can do it. And just being that tangible role model, like JT was saying, like, I didn't have that. Like, my Candace Parker was mine. And I'm like, I can't, a little girl from Columbia can't go to LA by herself to see it. So like just being that tangible role model and telling young people like, no, if you really want to do this, write it down and go after it because you want to check it off your list just like we did.
Mhm.
And so just telling them never dream, don't be little, dream big. No one likes little dreams.
Well, I don't want to end this on a low note. I mean, A'ja already called me a loser, so I don't know if we can get any lower. But we are going to talk about your ratings real fast,
Oh.
just for more motivation.
Don't piss me
Especially
off.
for you.
Ronnie. Don't piss me off.
For me,
Do you know what you were last year?
I know I ended off the season at a 96.
Okay. Do you know what you were last year?
90?
Do you know?
Oh, this is more
Oh,
than 90?
90? Oh, I thought you were going 90.
Oh, no,
And you were
I thought it was
finishing.
90.
Wait, hold on. No, 98.
Oh,
Am I
wait,
gonna get that right?
period. Okay, Ronnie,
Let
you
me
trying
check
to get on my good
the
side.
Google machine. You finished 98. That's what it says according to my research on my phone 5 minutes ago.
We don't need to fact check.
Yeah, it sounds right.
98
I need to
98.
break it to you. NBA 2K25, you can pre-order now, and it's available September 6th. A'ja Wilson, Jayson Tatum, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate
And
it.
congratulations
Thank you.
on just life at this point.